as the Black Red-Tailed Angels, the Black Birdmen, and most famously the Tuskegee Airmen, this group of nearly 1,000 men was born out of a time during which the rights of many groups were discounted and ignored, the 1940s.
When we went into town to go to the movie, we had to sign up on the base. 10 to 15 of us got into a truck and went into town. One man, usually the sergeant, would take our money, go to the box office. They wouldn't let us all go to the box office lined up. No, one would brought the tickets back, and we had to go up to the side of the building to the balcony. And this we had to do all the time.
6 decades previously, in 1876, the Jim Crow laws were enacted, stating that colored and white individuals would be separated in all public establishments, including but not limited to public transportations, restrooms, restaurants, schools, and the military.
I did not like Tuskegee. Segregated completely. If you're walking down the street and a white couple was coming towards you, you had to get off the sidewalk and walk in the gutter. I'm going now to fight for the freedom that they have, but I'm going to fight for the freedom I don't have.
That being said, a determined group of African Americans who wanted to learn to fly aircraft in World War II over North Africa and Europe was not only unheard of, but very ahead of their time. Before the Airmen, no African Americans had been accepted into the Air Force, as it was such a prestigious branch of the military that people believed African Americans did not have the intellect, nor could they meet the physical requirements necessary to succeed, claiming that the airmen were not of fighting caliber and that African American soldiers were unable to master efficiently the techniques of modern weaponry.
An example of African Americans flying fighter aircraft is the P-51 Mustang, which is America's preeminent fighter escort airplane of World War II. It's considered a war-winning weapon. So when we ask the question, were African Americans capable of flying advanced technology like the Mustang, they did. They succeeded and they did very well, fighting with the 15th Air Force, protecting American bombers as they bombed Nazi Germany.
In 1939, however, 2 pilots from the National Airmen's Association, named Chauncey E. Spencer and Dale L. White, took a stand for the admittance of African Americans into the civilian pilot training program. As a result, Harry S. Truman, who was a senator at the time, helped the men persuade Congress to authorize funds for an experiment to train African Americans to fly at the Tuskegee Army Airfield. The Tuskegee Airmen were essential in the 1940s as the first African American aviators to fly for the U.S. military during World War II, leading the way for the civil rights movement, opening people's eyes to the true capabilities of African Americans and other minorities, and continuing to preserve their legacy today through education and inspiration. The Tuskegee Airmen planted the seeds for the success of desegregation, both inside the military and out. On July 6, 1948, Harry S. Truman issued Executive Order 9981, which stated, "It is hereby declared to be the policy of the President that there shall be equality of treatment and opportunity for all persons in the armed services without regard to race," officially desegregating the military. The Tuskegee Airmen's actions did not only influence a change of discrimination in the military, but also in other workplaces. In June 1941, Executive Order 8802 was issued, in which President Roosevelt assures, "All departments and agencies of the government of the United States concerned with vocational and training programs for defense production shall take special measures appropriate to assure that such programs are administered without discrimination because of race." President Roosevelt assured in his letter to Walter White, Secretary of the NAACP on October 14, 1944, that, "In our administration of laws respecting benefits for our veterans, there must be assurance of equality and that the administration of the GI Bill of Rights should definitely be at that level."
But Uncle Sam, with the GI Bill, paid all the bills. So I went back to my college routine. We could go to any school free, which you could. So I went to New York University.
The Airmen's actions helped influence the decision to stop discrimination in the military and workplace from a political standpoint due to the impression they made and the way they proved themselves worthy during the Tuskegee experiment in the early 1940s. In fact, when Raymond V. Haysbert, one of the airmen, was asked about their contribution to this integration of the military, he said, "I think that the record of the Tuskegee Airmen was a pivotal point for changing the Army and Navy segregation law. In fact, the Congressional Medal of Honor says that we got it for our impact on the decision to desegregate." Not only did the airmen help stir the political pot, but also affected the way others viewed African Americans and their roles in not only the military, but in society. The Tuskegee Airmen spearheaded numerous social changes concerning the perception and treatment of African Americans, one of the most influential of these being the Double Victory Campaign. The goal of the Double Victory Campaign was to end segregation both in the military and for the general public. At the Congressional Gold Medal ceremony, George W. Bush stated,
"They were fighting two wars. One was in Europe, and the other took place in the hearts and minds of our citizens."
Although the Double Victory Campaign wasn't what ultimately led to the repeal of the Jim Crow laws, it kick-started the motivation for social change.
Did you notice a difference in the way you were treated after all of your achievements in the war?
Yes. I go in restaurants. A girlfriend and I sit there and eat, and the waitress came over and said, they want to pay your bill. I said, I can pay my money. He said, no, they want to pay your bill. People walk over, oh, hello, how are you? Thank you for your service. And I look at them and grin.
On January 30th, 1944, the Baltimore Sun writes that even the more skeptical white officers have had to admit the excellence of these Negro pilots.
The example of African Americans flying combat aircraft in World War II showed the American public, the Congress, and governmental leaders that African Americans could fight, and should participate in a desegregated military establishment.
Proving people wrong and changing others' outlooks on African Americans with their morale and impeccable record, flying about 1,500 missions, earning a total of 20 silver and bronze stars, 150 distinguished flying crosses, 744 air medals, 8 Purple Heart awards, as well as a Congressional Gold Medal in 2007, was a key asset to their success that helped them leave a legacy worth remembering. From going school to school sharing their experiences with the next generation, to funding students' college educations through scholarships, the Tuskegee Airmen are still very much active today, ensuring that our country's history of racial inequality doesn't repeat itself, and to inspire others to persevere. The Tuskegee Airmen Incorporated currently awards scholarships of $1,500 to 41 high school seniors with financial need each year. They have also given assemblies and have spoken at schools all around the country, ranging from elementary level to flight training centers. The Tuskegee Airmen and their legacy groups also exercise 6 educational principles through their traveling exhibit, Rise Above, intended to motivate students to aim high, believe in yourself, be ready to go, never quit, use your brain, and expect to win.
How do you and the other airmen continue to preserve your legacy?
Oh, like this here, African American Week, month rather, we get 5 or 6 engagements to go out. And we go out and talk to high schools, we go to churches, we've been to 2 synagogues.
Val Archer, one of the airmen that helped lead the Tuskegee Airmen Aviation Career Training Program, believes that it is his duty to try to instill confidence in young aviators to help them obtain their goals. One of the students who took the course said that it was inspiring to hear how the airmen were able to rise above the racial divide, and that hearing their story motivated her to continue striving for a career in aviation.
Leading the way for the civil rights movement, opening people's eyes to the true capabilities of African Americans and other minorities, and continuing to preserve their legacy today through education and inspiration, the Tuskegee Airmen have earned the respect of not only those who oppose them, but of those who are still learning about their achievements today.
An airplane does not react to the color or appearance of its pilot, either favorably or unfavorably, is a quote by their own flight instructor that is proven as fact through their exemplary actions both inside the war and out. The Tuskegee Airmen have provided the U.S. with hope for a chance at a judgment-free place to call home.